Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, class. So, we are now going to have our discussions about our first lesson, which is pertaining to the introduction to accounting. So, what are the things that we are going to deal with in lesson number 1, the introduction to accounting? These are the topics. First, definition and scope of accounting. Second, the forms of business organizations. Third, the purpose of business organizations. Number four, activities in business organizations. Number five, Pacholis double entry bookkeeping and its evolution. Number six, fundamental concepts. Seven, basic principles. And number eight, branches of accounting. So at the end of the lesson, you should be able to have these learning outcomes. First, define accounting and discuss the scope of accounting. Differentiate the forms of business organizations, discuss the purpose of business organizations, identify and explain the activities in business organizations. Number five, identify and explain the Pacholis double entry bookkeeping. Number six, list and explain the fundamental concepts and basic principles in accounting. And lastly, discuss the branches of accounting. So the first topic that we have is the definition and scope of accounting. What does it mean? When we say accounting, it is a service activity. Its function is to provide quantitative information, primarily financial in nature. So it is about economic entities to be useful in marketing economic decisions. So pag sinabi natin accounting, it is referring to offering a service or it is referring to having an intangible activity which is cannot be seen or which cannot be feel or which cannot be touched, or sometimes it's referring to intangible product. So if pag accounting kasi we are offering intellectual skills or intellectual capabilities to our clients. So that is accounting. So wala ka naman diyang binibentang produkto gaya ng mga damit, gaya ng upuan, papel, ballpen, walang ganun. Pag sinabi natin accounting, it is merely based on on the intellectual capacity or capability of an individual. Just like what we are doing in teaching. So, ako, may binibigay ba ako sa inyong produkto na visible to your naked eye. So, it is just a matter of the transfer of knowledge from one person to another. So, it is merely quantitative and not qualitative. Pag sinabi natin quantitative, it is something that is measurable. It is something that has a measurable value. So, another, accounting is the process of identifying, measuring, and communicating economic information to permit informed judgments and decisions by users of the information. And also, when we say accounting, it is an information system that measures, processes, and communicates financial information about an identifiable economic activity. So, when we say accounting, you tend to identify the different financial transactions that occur in the business, and you have to measure its value, the value of the transactions. And at the end, you have all those recorded data, all of the values that you have recorded based on the transactions that occur. You have to communicate those to to the management for them, or to the management or the users of the accounting information, for them to be able to make their judgments and decisions afterwards. And at the same time, in accounting, you have to measure, process, and at the same time communicate, as mentioned earlier, as this as something to do that will identify the economic entity, its a value, its financial position, and in whichever they could use the accounting information. Another, accounting is the art of recording, classifying, and summarizing in a significant manner and in terms of money transactions and events which are, in parts at least, of a financial character, and interpreting the result thereof. So when we see accounting kasi, this is the art of recording. That is the first thing that we are going to do when we are in the accounting cycle already. First is we are going to have the recording. So that is part of the bookkeeping job. Everything that we do should be based on what we have recorded. So what is the crucial part in bookkeeping is the recording part. Kasi kapag mali yung na-record mo, the tendency, all of the things that you will do in the end or during the process is going to be wrong or incorrect. So what is crucial part is recording. So you have to correctly, appropriately, and properly record all the financial transactions that occur within the business. So another is classifying. You have to classify those transactions occur, the different accounts from those transactions that occurred, whether they are assets, liabilities, equity, sales, expenses, whether they are part of the income statement, the balance sheet accounts, or they belong to the statement of cash flows, or they should be part of the preparation of the statement of changes in owner's equity. So you have to classify where category should the accounts be belong. Another is summarizing. So when we say summarizing, this is in the part of the preparation of the financial statements. So when we say financial statements, this is the preparation of the income statement, statement of financial positions, or what we call often as the balance sheet, statement of cash flows, statement of changes in owner's equity, and other more. So pag sinabi natin summarizing, yun yung ginagawa natin, financial statements. Another, the accounting function is a part of the broader business system and does not operate in isolation. So it handles the financial operations of the business, also provides information and advice to other departments. So business transactions are the economic activities of the business. So everything that we record are based on the historical events of the economic entity, which is what we call as the business transactions, and it has a significant function of accounting. So accounts are produced to aid management in planning. So all that we do in accounting could be used by the accounting information users in the management for planning or for decision making. And of course, part is controlling what is to be controlled within the organization or within the business. And another, before the effects of transactions can be recorded, they must be measured in order that accounting information will be useful. And it must be expressed in terms of what we call as the common financial denominator, which is money. So money in accounting serves as both a medium of exchange and a measure of value. So everything that we account for in accounting or particularly in bookkeeping should have its value. So pag bumili ka ng ballpen, magkano halaga nun? Magkano halaga? At the same time, kapag bumili ka ng office supplies, ng papel, magkano halaga nun? Everything should have its value when it comes to bookkeeping or when it comes to accounting. Another, to measure a business transaction, the accountant must decide when the transaction occurred. So in recording or in the bookkeeping accounting, you should remember these three: the recognition, the evaluation, and the classification issue. So first, you have to have this recognition issue. Pag sinabi natin recognition issue in recording, you have to identify kung kailan nangyari yung transaction. That is referring to the date kung kailan nangyari yun. Another is yung evaluation issue. What should be the value placed on the transaction? Doon sa nangyaring transaction na yun, bumili ka ng ballpen, magkano halaga nun sa transaction na yun? Kung halaga ng ballpen ay 200, then that's the value of the transaction. That is what we call as the evaluation issue. Magkano yung halaga nung transaction na nangyari sa business natin? Another, how the components of the transaction should be classified. Dito papasok yung classification issue. Dito papasok yung identification of the different accounts in each transaction. Sa transaction, sa bawat isang transaction, may dalawa or minimum of 2 accounts na involved dyan. Yung dalawang accounts na involved doon sa transaction na yun, you have to classify whether they are asset, liabilities, equity accounts, or they are sales or expenses. Do they belong in income statement accounts or in balance sheet accounts? So that is part of the classification or what we call as the classification issue. Again, in bookkeeping, particularly in recording, you have to remember these three: recognition issue, kailan nangyari yung transaction; evaluation issue, the value of the transaction; Third is the classification issue, the accounts involved, minimum of 2 accounts involved in the transaction, and categorizing those accounts into income statement accounts or balance sheet accounts, identifying or classifying whether they are assets, liabilities, equity account, sales, or expense. Okay? By simply measuring and recording transactions, the resulting information will be limited of use. So to be useful in making decisions, the recorded data must be classified and summarized. So what I have mentioned, the three things like yung mga issue like recognition, evaluation, and classification issue are needed for recording. So you have to follow those three for you to arrive into an appropriate, correct, and proper recordings of data. So when you follow those three, you could have your good recorded data. But to make your recorded data useful, you have to make sure that you could be able to classify it and summarize it afterwards. So when we say classification of the recorded data, it helps us to reduce the effects of numerous transactions into useful groups of categories. Dito maaaring pumasok sa classification of recorded data is yung tinatawag nating posting na kung saan gumagamit tayo ng general ledger or ng tinatawag nating T accounts. Kung saan lahat ng cash na na-record natin ay maaaring ipagsasama-sama na rin siya sa isang cash lang. Lahat ng accounts receivable, ipagsasama natin lahat yun. Lahat ng accounts payable, ipagsasama natin lahat yun. At yun ay magkakaroon kayo ng much idea about it when we go further with our discussions or with our lesson. So, lesson 2 and lesson 3, mas magkakaroon kayo ng kaalaman kung paano ginagawa yun. So, sa classification, ipagsasama-sama natin lahat ng cash, lahat ng liabilities, lahat ng accounts payable, lahat ng capital, lahat ng withdrawals, lahat ng expenses, lahat ng sales, ipagsasama-sama natin yun. We tend to categorize it into each account, and after you categorize it into each account, you also have to categorize whether they are assets, liabilities, equity accounts, sales, expenses, whether they are part of the income statement or whether they are part of the balance sheet account. And once you have classified it already, you can go on to what we call as the summarization. So when we say summarize or summarization of financial data of what you have recorded and what you have classified or posted, you could be able to achieve it through the preparation of the financial statements. Magiging useful lang yung, magiging useful lamang yung recorded data once we classified it and once we summarized it. Ano nga ba yung ibig sabihin ng summarization? This is achieved through the preparation of the financial statements. Uulitin ko, ano nga ba yung typical or common financial statements that we prepare here? We have income statement, balance sheet, or statement of financial position, statement of cash flows, and statement of changes in owner's equity. So, all of this summarize the effects of all business transactions that occurred during some period. So, makikita kasi natin dito, we could be able to, nabanggit ko nga kanina, when it comes to recorded data, if we could have appropriately, correctly, and properly record data, we could be able to come up into a correct summarization, classification, and summarization of the recorded data. And we could be able to arrive also in the correct preparation of the financial statements. And with that sense kasi, we could be able to make a good or correct judgment and decision for the betterment of the organization or of the business. So after going through the preceding phases, it is imperative that the results of the summarization phase be interpreted or analyzed to evaluate the liquidity, profitability, and solvency of the business organization. Let us go on further with what we call as topic number 2. So sa topic number 2, very maikli lang siya, forms of business organizations. I know that this has been discussed already to you when you are in senior high school or when you took your management courses in first year. So when we say forms of business organizations, this is referring to these three: sole proprietorship, partnership, and corporation. And I will not expand the explanation about these three since it is very easy to understand its definition. So, sole proprietorship is only referring to a business organization which has a single owner or one owner, who is called as the proprietor, who generally is also the manager. So, siya na rin yung owner, siya na rin yung nagsiserve as the manager of the business itself. So, sole proprietorship tends to be a small service type or a small type of business. So, hindi lang siya service, maaari din siyang sa other form of or other type of business. So, here, halimbawa, physicians, lawyers, and accountants, yan yung mga service type businesses, and retail establishments like yung mga sari-sari store, grocery stores, welding shops, grocery stores, meron tayong mga clothing stores, yan. Yun yung tinatawag nating sole proprietorship. However, when we say partnership naman, it is a business owned and managed or operated by two or more persons who bind themselves to contribute money, property, or industry to a common fund with the intention of dividing the profits among themselves. So this is being operated and owned by two or more persons. And in partnership, there is a separate accounting course for this one, which is partnership accounting. Partnership and accounting. So yun yung fundamentals of accounting part 2 natin. Yun nga lang, I think you do not have that accounting part 2. So in BSBA kasi we do have accounting part 2. Yun yung partnership and corporation na subject. So, partnership, two or more persons bind themselves into the entity, which they contribute money, skills, property, or industry as capital to the business. Another is what we call as the corporation. So, a corporation is a business owned by its stockholders, and I think there is a minimum number of stockholders before you can be called as a corporation, and I think that is 15 members or 15 stockholders. But according to my professor in PhD, he mentioned that there is already a law for the corporation which only requires you to have two stockholders. And with the two stockholders, you can already apply or register your business as corporation into the SEC. So, hindi lang niya na-mention on what law is that, pero hindi na ako nag-research about it. So, you can have it in your class kung meron kayong partnership and corporation. So, those are the forms of business organizations. The three: sole proprietorship, partnership, and corporation. Another is the topic number 3. We have the purpose of business organizations. Here, for the purpose of business organizations, the different forms of business organizations that we mentioned above are classified according to the ownership structure of the business entity. However, dito naman sa purpose, ano yung nature niya? By nature, ano yung klase ng ino-offer ng business na ito? So, any of these types of activities may be performed by a business organization, be it a sole proprietorship, partnership, or a corporation. Maaari siyang ganon. So, ang sole proprietorship ay maaaring maging service, merchandising, or manufacturing business. Another, first, we have here yung tinatawag nating service companies. Pag sinabi nating service companies or service type of business, these are the companies which offer services for a fee. Halimbawa, dito papasok si bookkeeping firm, si law firm, si audit firm, si stock brokerage, si beauty salons, and recruitment agencies. Paano natin siya natawag na service business? Because the business itself offers intangible product. Ibig sabihin ng intangible, the product cannot be seen. The product is not visible to the naked eye. You cannot touch it, hindi mo siya nakikita, hindi mo siya nakahawakan. So, ibig sabihin, yung mga example na binigay natin dito, these are referring to the skills, talents, and intellectual capabilities of those who offer the service to its clients. So, yun yung tinatawag nating service type of business. Pag sinabi naman po nating merchandising, it could be done by means of merchandising, it could be done by means of retailing and wholesaling. So, pag sinabi natin merchandising, ang nature ng sole proprietorship, ng partnership, or ng corporation when they are into this type of business, merchandising is they retail and they wholesale. They could retail and they could wholesale. So, baliktad natin, wholesale or retail. So, dito, bumibili tayo ng mga ready-made or finished products na. Bumibili tayo, tapos binibenta din natin. Yun yung merchandising. Pag manufacturing naman, you are the one fabricating or creating the product itself that you are selling to your final consumers or to the other companies. Halimbawa, ikaw gumagawa ng papel, bumibili ka ng raw materials, yung mga materials para makagawa ng papel. Bumibili ka ng mga materials para makagawa ka ng kotse. At ikaw yung gumagawa ng kotse, saka mo ibebenta sa ibang kumpanya o binibenta mo siya mismo doon sa mga final consumers or final customers ninyo. Okay? So, yun yung tinatawag natin purpose of business organizations or types of business. So we have service, merchandising, and manufacturing type of business. Number 4. Topic number 4, we have here, class, I would like to accentuate this topic because this topics or activities in business organizations in topic number 4 are going to be present in our discussion for the preparation of financial statements, particularly the financial statement, the statement of cash flows. So, sa statement of cash flows na yun, papasok itong tatlo na to. First, financing. Second, investing. And the third is operating activities. Sa financing activities, so, these 3 types of organizational activities. So, first is financing activities. Organizations require financial resources to obtain other resources used to produce goods and services. So, they compete for these resources in the financial markets. Financing activities are the methods of an organization uses to obtain financial resources from financial markets and how it manages these resources. So, it is not just referring to the financial markets, but sa madaling salita, pag sinabi nating financing activities, para hindi na tayo mahirapan sa pag-identify or pag-define ng financing activities, ang ibig sabihin po nito, saan nanggaling yung kapital ng ating negosyo or saan nanggagaling yung additional fund ng ating negosyo para may magamit tayo sa pagpapa-operate ng negosyo natin. Yan po ba yung kapital po ba na yan ay nanggaling sa owner? O yan po ba yung nanggaling sa pangungutang natin sa iba't ibang financial institutions? Yun yung tinatawag nating financing activities. Another is what we call as the investing activities. Pag sinabi natin investing activities involve the selection and management, including the disposal and replacement of long-term resources that will be used to develop, produce, and sell goods and services. So, investing activities include buying land, equipment, building, and other resources that are needed in the operation of the business, and selling these resources when they are no longer needed. So, when we say investing activities, parang hindi na rin tayo mahirapan i-define ito or intindihin ito, pag sinabi po natin investing activities, this has something to do dun sa nilalabas na pera ng ating negosyo para may pambili tayo sa property, plants, and equipment like lands, equipment, buildings, and machineries na kung saan maaaring magamit ng ating negosyo sa operation at maaari ding ibenta ulit ng ating negosyo para makapag-generate ng panibagong income. So, investing activities, aside from buying property, plants, and equipment, bumili ka ba ng long-term securities like stocks from other corporations na kung saan maaaring makapag-generate ng bagong income ulit sa ating business. Investing, di ba pag nag-invest ka, may labas ka, pero dapat may pumasok. Okay? So, pag may binigay ka, dapat may matatanggap. Di ba yun yung konsepto ni Pacioli sa double entry system ng bookkeeping? So, investing activities. So, sa investing activities po natin, you have to make sure that when you release a certain amount of money from our business, dapat yun ay may papasok. na pera din. Investing activities. Yung nilaan or saan inilaan nung business natin yung pera na kung saan makakapag-generate tayo ng panibagong income sa ating business or makakatulong yun para makapag-generate ng income ang ating business. Investing activities yun. Another, operating activities. Pag sinabi natin operating activities, this involved the use of resources to design, produce, distributed, and market goods and services. So operating activities includes research and development, design and engineering, purchasing, human resources, production, distribution, marketing and selling, and servicing. So madaling salita, pag sinabi natin operating activities, ito yung nilalabas or pumapasok na pera sa ating negosyo na may kinalaman sa operasyon mismo ng ating negosyo. Halimbawa, pumasok na pera by means of accounts receivable, by means of our sales. Diba? Cash. May pumasok sa atin dahil may napagbentahan tayo. And either that is service revenue or sales. Okay? May pumasok na pera sa pamamagitan ng napagbentahan or revenue natin. Another, lumabas na pera na may kinalaman sa operasyon ng ating negosyo. Halimbawa dyan yung mga expenses. Expenses, renta. Kapag kayo ay nangungupahan lamang ng pwesto para sa inyong negosyo, renta po yan, rent expense. Naglabas ka ng pera. Another, nagbayad ka ng sweldo. Nagbayad ka ng sweldo para sa iyong empleyado, lumabas ang pera, that is salaries expense. Another, nagbayad ka ng kuryente, nagbayad ka ng tubig sa iyong negosyo, that is utilities expense. So, another, nagbayad ka ng advertisement, dahil gusto mo mas makilala pa ang iyong negosyo, it has something to do with marketing and selling. Gusto pang makilala ng ibang maraming tao ang iyong negosyo, ang iyong produkto, so nagbayad ka ng advertisement. So, that is advertisement expense. So, sa distribution, yung pwesto, yung renta, servicing, or meron kang transportation cost, magkano yung raw materials mo na ginamit mo para sa iyong negosyo, para makapagbuo ka ng produkto. Yun yung mga tinatawag nating operating activities. Lumabas at pumasok na pera sa ating negosyo. Another, topic number 5, Pacioli's double entry bookkeeping and its evolution. So in Fra Luca Pacioli's book, Summa, there are 36 short chapters on bookkeeping. So Luca states that to be successful, every merchant needs 3 essential things. First, sufficient cash or credit. Second, a good bookkeeper. And third is an accounting system to view the business affairs at a glance. So Pacioli discusses 3 books in the Summa: the memorandum, the journal, and the ledger. So in Pacioli's book, he introduces the double entry accounting system in which for every debit dare, which we call should give, there should exist a debit habere, should have or should receive. So what is important to take note in Pacioli's double entry bookkeeping and its evolution is the component of his book. First is the memorandum, next is the journal and the ledger, which we are going to apply in our journal entries dun sa journalizing and sa ledger. So, yun yung pasok tayo sa memorandum, journal, and ledger. We are going to apply that in accounting bookkeeping. Another is the double entry accounting system na kung saan doon sa sinabi niya, we are going to apply his principle in the double entry accounting system na kung saan sa bawat lumalabas, sa bawat binibigay natin, meron dapat tayong natatanggap or meron dapat na pumapasok. Pag may lumalabas, dapat may pumapasok. Yun yung tinatawag nating debit dare, should give, and there should always be, kapag may debit dare, dapat meron din debit habere, o yung tinatawag nating should have or should receive. Parang debit and credit. So, in modern bookkeeping systems are still based on principles established in the 15th century, and although they have had to be adapted to suit modern conditions. So that is what we call as Pacioli's double entry bookkeeping and its evolution. So let's talk about the book itself. In Summa, there should also in Summa there are 3 that we should consider that we have mentioned earlier. First is the memorandum. This is the book where all transactions are recorded and in the currency in which they are conducted at the time they are conducted. So, in memorandum, you have your book na kung saan ilalagay mo doon, nire-record mo na in September 1, bumili ako ng 5 pirasong ballpen, nagkakahalaga ng 100 piso. So, yun yung tinatawag natin. Another, nag-record ka ulit. September 2, bumili ako ng 2 monoblocks, nagkakahalaga ng 500 pesos. So, i-record mo yun. May date, at saka may value, kung magkano, anong nangyari. So on and so forth, lahat na nangyari sa business natin, referring to transactions happened or occurred within the business should be recorded, and that is what we call as memorandum. The second thing that you're going to have as we apply the Pacholi's book, the second book is what we call as the journal. Yung journal na to is a merchant's private book. Dito tayo gumagawa ng entries na kung saan the entries made here are in one currency, in a chronological order, or in a narrative form. So in journal, dito papasok yung i-apply natin later on or later with our later lessons, sa lesson 2 and lesson 3, makikita natin kung paano ba nagpe-prepare ng journal entries, yung journalizing, kung saan debit, dare, at debit, habere, na kung saan for every thing that we give, there should be something that we must receive, debit and credit. Another is the preparation of the ledger. So it could be done by means of preparation of the general ledger or of what we call as T accounts. So it is an alphabetical listing of all the business accounts along with the running balance of each particular account. So sa journal kasi, isa-isang transaction, identifying doon kung ano yung debit, ano yung credit, minimum of 2 accounts in each transaction. Sa memorandum kasi, nire-record mo yung mga nangyari lang with date and with value. Pagdating sa journal mo, i-itemize mo na siya. Ilalagay mo kung siya ba ay debit, siya ba ay credit, anong petsa, anong amount. So, sa bawat transaction, may minimum of 2 accounts. Dapat pag may debit, dapat may credit. Yun yung ginagawa natin sa journal. Pagdating naman sa ledger, ipagsasama-sama mo halimbawa, lahat ng nangyaring cash, lahat ng nangyari, lahat ng na-record mo sa memorandum, lahat ng na-journalize mo, lahat ng na-journalize mo per date, lahat ng may cash doon, ipagsasama mo as cash. Lahat ng accounts payable mo, ipagsasama mo. Lahat ng accounts receivable, ipagsasama mo. Lahat ng withdrawals, lahat ng capital, ipagsasama mo. Yun yung ginagawa natin sa ledger by means of preparation of general ledger or of posting it using the T accounts. Okay? So, what do we mean when we say fundamental concepts? So, pag sinabi naman natin fundamental concepts, there are 3 in accounting. First is what we call as the entity concept. Entity concept is the most basic concept in accounting. So, an accounting entity is an organization or a section of an organization that stands apart from other organizations of different entities should not be accounted for together. And each entity should be evaluated separately. So, the value or what we do, what should we account for is should be referring only to an entity itself, to the business itself. So it should not go or it should not be accounted for with other business entity. So kung ano yung evaluate natin is yung business lang natin. Hindi natin isasama sa evaluation yung ibang business or yung ibang company. So that is what we call as the entity concept. We separate our business entity to other business entities. So yun lang, ganun lang kadali yung concept ng entity concept. Another is the periodicity concept. So when we say periodicity concept, the entity's life can be meaningfully subdivided into unequal time periods for reporting purposes. So it will be aimless to wait for the actual last day of operations to perfectly measure the entity's net income. So this concept allows the users to obtain timely information to serve as a basis on making decisions about future activities. So pag periodicity concept, to make it easier for us to understand, is you have to choose whether you're going to account for the business entity or to continue with the accounting in the business entity, whether it is every month, quarterly, semi-annually, or annually. Is the preparation should be done every month, quarterly, semi-annually, or annually. Para mas alam natin kung when are we going to make a decision for for the future activities of the business. So, at the end of the year, magka-close ang libro, we account for everything that happened within the business after a year. Or sa loob na isang taon na yan, sa kayo magka-account. So, makikita niyo dyan, ganito nangyari sa loob ng isang taon, then you have to make decisions about the business with regards to what you have prepared for the whole year. Diba? Yun yung tinatawag nating periodicity. The period where you are going to account for everything that happened within the business. Another is a stable monetary unit concept. You have to choose here the most stable monetary unit for accounting. So the Philippine peso is the most reasonable unit or reliable unit of measure, and that is purchasing power, which that its purchasing power is relatively stable. In the Philippines, of course, kasi nasa Philippines ka, it is much reliable to use the currency of a country where you are situated now or where you are situated from. Kung saan ka nakasituate, yun yung piliin mo, Philippine. Kung saan ka nakasituate, yung currency nun, yun yung piliin mo as your stable monetary unit. So, this should be the basis for ignoring the effects of inflation in the accounting records. It could be harder for us to prepare the accounting works, to do the accounting works if you are going to use several currency as your monetary unit. Diba? Paano mo malalaman ang hirap kaya mag-prepare if may naka-dollar, may naka-Philippine peso, may naka-Japanese yen, iba-iba. It would be better if you're going to use only one currency in the preparation or in the conduct of the accounting works. Okay? Another, last two topics we're going to have, we have the topic 7, basic principles. Ito medyo mahaba-haba, pero I would give you a mas madaling paraan para po ito ay maintindihan natin. There are 7 principles in accounting that we should consider or that we should account for. First is the objectivity principle. I just would like to make an accentuation here in the objectivity principle that in accounting, we are not subjective. Hindi natin binibase sa experience, sa emotions, sa feelings natin, yung mga judgment and decisions na ginagawa natin when it comes to accounting. So, when it comes to the accounting works, we have to be objective. Accounting records and statements are based on the most reliable data available so that they will be as accurate and as useful as possible. So, reliable data are verifiable when they can be confirmed by independent observers. So, objective tayo. Ano bang ibig sabihin ng objective? So, objectivity principle, objective ka because your judgments, the preparation of everything in accounting is based on your source, reliable source of data. May pinagbabasehan ka. Say, for example, magre-record ka ng pinamili mong office supplies. Pwede mo bang sabihin sa akin, i-record mo yan, bumili ako ng ballpen at papel, nagkakahalaga ng 1,000 pesos. Bago ko i-record yan, you have to show me first the evidence or the source document that will show me that you have bought an office supplies which is amounting to 1,000 pesos. May patunay dapat, may ebidensya dapat na ikaw ay bumili talaga ng office supplies na nagkakahalaga ng 1,000 pesos. Na kung sakali man bumili ka ng laptop na nagkakahalaga ng 700,000 pesos na isang pirasong laptop, yan ay 700,000 pesos sa isang laptop lang. Kailangan may patunay ka sa akin or magsusuporta na dokumento na nagpapatunay na yung laptop na yan ay nagkakahalaga talaga ng 700,000 pesos before I record it.
Okay po? So, yun yung objectivity principle. So, we have, and not just like that, meron din tayong auditing, di ba? As part of accounting, may auditing tayo. We also have to make sure that that is really reliable. What is written in that OR or in that evidence is really reliable na yan ba talagang laptop na yan ay nagkakahalaga ng 700,000 pesos. Diba? So that is part of the auditing work. But our work here is only part of the bookkeeping in accounting. So objectivity principle yun. Everything should be evident. It is given by our source documents or may pruweba tayo. Another historical cost. The principle state that acquired assets should be recorded at their actual cost and not at what management thinks they are worth as at reporting date. So, huwag tayong gumawa ng haka-haka. Halimbawa, bumili ka ng lupa. Bumili ka ng lupa, i-declare mo yung value ng lupa mo. Dapat, you should account it or declare it as to its actual cost. For example, magkano yung assessment doon galing sa munisipyo? Meron kang titulo ng lupa, may assessment yun. Magkano yung halaga nun? That is the actual cost. At hindi sa kung magkano sa tingin mo ang halaga niya. Ngayon ay halaga ng 500,000 ang 150 square meters. No. Hindi sa kung ano yung sinabi mo. Dapat, balik tayo sa number 1, objective ka. Objectivity principle, may pinagbabasehan tayo. Ano yung actual cost niya? Halimbawa, bumili ka ng laptop, binili mo siya ay halagang 700,000 pesos. So, 700,000 pesos yung i-declare mo. Hindi sa kung ano yung magkano na tingin mo ang halaga niya. Okay? Another, revenue recognition principle. Revenue or yung sales, may dalawang klase kasi tayo ng revenue. Depende siya sa klase ng negosyo. Halimbawa, di ba na-discuss natin yung klase ng negosyo. Halimbawa, you are in a service business, service type of business. Ang tawag doon sa kinita mo or kita mo doon kapag nakabenta ka ay service revenue. Kapag ikaw naman ay engage sa manufacturing or merchandising type of business, nakabenta ka, ang tawag doon ay sales or sales revenue. So, balik tayo sa revenue recognition principle. Revenue is to be recognized in the accounting period when goods are delivered or services are rendered or performed. Pag merchandising tsaka manufacturing, madali. Kasi pag may customer ka, bumili, na pagbentahan mo, nagbayad siya, sales na yon. Pag service naman, ganito. Kapag may kliyente, pumunta sa'yo, binayaran ka na agad, pero hindi mo pa nare-render yung serbisyo sa kliyente mo, hindi sales yun. Lagi natin tatandaan yun. Kasi madalas na nangyayari din yun sa realidad na may kliyente tayo, nagbabayad sila ng advance. Pero yung business natin, hindi pa nakapag-render ng service dun sa kliyente natin. Hindi po yun sales, ha? Hindi po yun service revenue. Ang tawag po dun ay unearned revenue. Okay? Hindi pa natin siya dinideclare as sales or service revenue kasi hindi pa natin nare-render or hindi pa natin nagagawa yung serbisyo sa kliyente natin. Ang tawag po dun ay unearned revenue. At ang unearned revenue ay hindi po sales. Yun ay tinatawag nating liability. Ibig sabihin, may pagkakautang ang ating negosyo sa kliyente. So, that is part of the revenue recognition principle. Another is yung tinatawag nating expense recognition principle. So, expenses should be recognized in the accounting period in which goods and services are used up to produce revenue and not when the entity pays for those goods and services. So, automatically, once you use a certain goods or services, it is already considered as our expense. So, halimbawa, kuryente tubig na gamit na ninyo sa loob ng isang buwan. So, therefore, that is already our expense na dapat nating bayaran. So, nire-recognize natin siya na expense once na nagamit na natin siya. Hindi kung kailan natin siya babayaran. Nagkakaintindihan po ba tayo? So, it is already considered as our expense once we used it already. Okay? So, that is the expense of our business. Another, number 5, adequate disclosure. So, requires that all relevant information that would affect the user's understanding and assessment of the accounting entity should be disclosed in the financial statements. Everything that we have recorded in our memorandum, which is the book where we have recorded all the transactions happen within the business, after we journalize it using the double entry system in bookkeeping, the debit and credit, after we post it in our ledger and our T accounts, it should be disclosed by means of having the financial statements for us to have a clearer vision of what are those recorded data for? Para saan ba yung mga nirecord mong data na yun? Siyempre, para makita mo kung kumikita ka ba o hindi. Mas marami pa ba ang pagmamayari mo kasi sa utang mo o baka mamaya puro withdrawals ka, wala nang natirang pera sa business mo na gagamitin mo para ipaikot sa buong negosyo mo. So, yun yung importansya or yung principle na dapat nating matandaan when it comes to adequate disclosure. Another is materiality. In financial reporting, it is also concerned with information that is significant enough to affect evaluations and decisions. So, materiality depends on the size and nature of the item judged in the particular circumstances of its omission. Baka yung value niya ay sobrang baba na baka pag 0.00010 na yan, could it still be possible to include that? Or baka may policy naman na kayo pag 0.00 something is pwede nang i-omit siya sa record natin at wag na natin siyang i-record. Yun yung tinatawag natin materiality as we are looking onto the value of the item that we would like to record in our book. So, pag sobrang baba na siya, baka may policy kayo na pwede nang hindi na siya kasama or i-omit na lang natin siya sa recording. Or, say for example, meron tayong example niyan sa materiality na government accounting. Halimbawa, sa procurement process, we undergo bidding. So, may mga items kasi with a certain minimum value na kung saan pwede nating i-undergo sa procurement process bidding. So, say for example, kung may policy tayo na ang item na 10,000 pesos below ang value should not undergo a procurement process of bidding anymore. So, that is part of your evaluations and decisions na say for example, yung laptop, yung tablet, nagkakahalaga lang ng 10,000. Should it undergo the procurement process bidding or hindi na? Kasi 10,000 pesos and below lang naman ang value niya. So, pwede na natin kunin yan sa petty cash fund or sa savings mismo ng ating business at sa fund mismo ng ating company. Baka may fund pa naman, hindi na kailangan pa mag-undergo ng procurement process bidding kasi magtatagal pa. Ang halaga ay hindi naman ganun kalaki. So, depende yan sa materiality or dun sa value ng item natin on how we're going to make our evaluations and decisions afterwards. Pwede lang hindi na siya isama sa procurement process sa bidding simply because it's a value. The value of the item that you would like to procure is not that so big as the value only referring to 10,000 pesos and below. It depends. Another is consistency principle. The consistency principle is you should use the same accounting method from period to period to achieve comparability over time within a single enterprise. So, however, changes are permitted if it is justifiable and disclosed in the financial statement. So, you have to make sure that you use the same accounting method and the accounting method that you use is the same for you to be able to have a comparability over time na kung saan hindi magkakalituhan sa paggawa ng accounting work sa isang organization. At kung sakali man, syempre, we have to cope with the changes and changes are inevitable. So, if ever na may changes tayong gagawin sa accounting method natin, we have to make sure na that those are justifiable and supported by the evidences that the change should really happen or the change should really be made. And at the same time, kapag may pagbabago man, dapat makikita natin yan sa financial statements na gagawin natin. Hindi yung may binago tayo sa record natin, pero hindi naman siya na-disclose or hindi siya lumabas or nag-reflect doon sa financial statements natin, which is very, very wrong. Dahil kapag nagkaroon ng audit, nakita yan, baka bigla nating sabihin na warak yung pagkatao ng ating departamento. Diba? So, we have to make sure na yan ay justifiable, and at the same time, it is disclosed properly to the financial statements of the business or of the organization. Okay, let us now proceed to the last topic, which is about the branches of accounting. So there are eight, I don't think one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. There are eight mentioned branches of accounting here in your module. First is the auditing. Ngayon ako pa ito nababanggit. So sa auditing, they are responsible for getting the fairness, to ensure that there is fairness and reliability from all the reports that we have reported in the bookkeeping works. We have the financial statements, lahat ng mga financial transactions that have done or occurred within the organization and recorded should appear that it is reliable, na talagang makatotohanan, totoo, patunay, at may pinanggalingang totoo yung mga nangyari na yun, lalo na at may kinalaman sa pera. So, I will not discuss anymore what are those branches kasi hindi naman natin siya madidiscuss na kasi what we are going to focus with in module in our course Fundamentals of Accounting is all about bookkeeping. So bookkeeping is a mechanical task involving the collection of basic financial data. So the data are first entered in the accounting record or the books of accounting, and the extracted, classified, and summarized in the form of income statement, balance sheet, and cash flow statements, and meron pang mga ibang financial statements, and this process normally takes place once a month. Okay? So, ang pagre-record na natin or yung bookkeeping could happen once a month. So, monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, annually. Depends. So, bookkeeping. So, dyan tayo magpo-focus. Okay? So, financial management, management accounting, taxation, and government accounting. So, ito ay labas na sa saklaw ng ating klase. So, ito lamang po ang pagpo-focusan natin sa bookkeeping. So, these are the 8 branches of accounting. Cost accounting, yan, may ibang subject pa yan. Yan ay saklaw, kurso na sinasaklaw sa programa ng Bachelor of Science in Business Administration, major in Financial Management and Operations Management. Sa accounting education, of course, hindi mawawala yan. Yan, financial accounting, financial management, management accounting, taxation, meron din yan sa BSBA, of course, accounting and education, mahalaga yan. Government, accounting, this is preferably for the Bachelor of Public Administration and the Bachelor of Science in Office Administration. I think what accounting they have is the government accounting. Yan. Kasi yan yung kailangan nila. Everything that has something to do with public service or sabihin natin government. Medyo mahirap-hirap ito kasi may mga saklaw na batas na bonggang-bongga po yan sa government accounting. Okay? So, that's it already for our discussion about Introduction to Accounting, our lesson 1. I hope you will read more and you will really watch and comprehend this video that I have recorded, intended only for all of you, for you taking this course. Okay? So, thank you so much for watching this and exercising comprehension while watching this while watching this recorded video. Thank you so much. Goodbye, class. Take care always.